Hello, and welcome to the Writers Series, Between the Margins. My name is Amara Wynn, and I am going to be interviewing authors on this series. I've done a couple so far. I think they're going well. I would love for you to subscribe to this YouTube channel, perhaps make a comment or two, invite other authors to subscribe. I think that would be amazing. I really enjoy doing this. But today we're going to be interviewing two authors, but they're going to be uploaded at two different times. But my first interview today is with Leslie Lee Sanders, and I am so excited to learn about her new book. But before we get to that, I do have to do the self promo. I know. I'll have to do it for everyone. So for the self promo, here's my book. More Than I Expected. Someone asked me during an interview that they did with me, is this classified as a romantic comedy? And of course, my answer is yes, because there is romance and there is comedy. Now, does that mean that it really is a romantic comedy? That's up to you, because it does deal with some heavier topics like anxiety and mental health. But the book really is about love, not just love of, an individual, but love of family and friends and love of yourself. And I would love for you to check it out, all major platforms. It is on Kindle Unlimited, but enough about me. Let's go ahead and jump right in to Leslie Lee Sanders and her new book. Hello, my name is Amara Wynn, and today I am sitting down with Leslie Lee Sanders. Hello, Leslie.
Hello, Amara.
I'm going to read a bio. Do you mind if I read a bio about you?
Let's go.
Okay, if it's
Let's do it.
wrong, then tell me. Leslie Lee Sanders resides in Arizona. You have a husband, couple kids, three daughters.
Three girls.
Yep. And from what I remember, because I didn't write this down, but I do remember seeing a line that said something like a wild beast that
A
you,
wild beast called my imagination.
that's it. Yes. And I should have
Yes.
written that down. I thought that was good. You launched your writing career in 2005, which makes me think that you must have been a baby. And since 2005, you have published over 30 books. Thirty books is a lot, considering I've only
That's
had
a
one.
lot.
Yeah. You also write as L.L. Sanders, and under that name, you craft psychological thrillers and horror novels. And underneath Leslie Lee Sanders, you explore many different types of diverse romance and dystopian fiction. And this past year, you wrote your first nonfiction book, and it is
That's right.
a deeply personal, spiritual, self-help book that you hope will inspire others to find their power and manifest their life that they desire. And that book is titled Ready to Listen, and it's currently out right now. And did I see that it was in a bookstore?
Oh yeah. Yes, it's in Barnes and Noble and actually two locations. I didn't announce the second one yet because they're ordering copies, but yes,
That's so
in Barnes and
exciting.
Noble. Yes.
So before we even get started with the hard questions, you're gonna have to tell these indie authors how you managed to do that.
Well, the first thing is to make sure that you have an ISBN because that's important. You could go to Bowker's to buy one. Make sure you have one for each edition of your work, and also each type, meaning if you have an audiobook, a hardcover, paperback, or just ebook, you want your own ISBN. On Amazon, they have the AISN, but they own that, and so it's hard for bookstores and warehouses to order your book to have it in stock. So that's number one. That's the main thing I would say is make sure you own your ISBN.
I can't tell you how many times I've been telling people that it seems pricey, but
Yeah,
it's worth it because
it's
then
a
you can
good
put that book
investment.
anywhere.
Yes, yes. And that's exactly what I plan to do. And thank God I was able to do it. So,
It can be pricey. It hurt my feelings, but I someone told me that I should do that. So I did it right out the gate. And
mhm.
you a lot of bookstores won't order it if it can't be on Ingram, and it can't be on Ingram if
Yes,
you don't own your own ISBN.
yes. Right.
Such great advice. Okay, we're gonna jump
Yeah.
right into your book. Are you ready to get personal, deep,
Yeah,
dark?
let's do it. Yeah.
Okay, I'm ready to dive into your brain. So your book, Ready to Listen, And I'm not going to lie, I haven't had a chance to read it yet. I have read one of your
Hmm,
books. I have not had a chance to read it yet, but it is on my list to download. And I think it's 6.95 on Kindle right now.
that's correct.
I was stalking you. Uh, but I did see that it does center all around learning to hear your own intuition. And especially when your intuition has been pretty quiet and you haven't
Right.
exactly known what to do. What was the hardest rule that you had to unlearn when you were trying to figure out how to truly listen to yourself?
Well, one of the things I still struggle with today, because it's a hard task, is trusting that intuition. Because I'm a practical woman, but I'm also spiritual. So I toe the line. I'm on the fence of like the logical, but also the mythical, the spiritual, the supernatural, the paranormal. But for it to be in science, to for it to like be practical, it has to be rooted in science. So I'm always teetering back and forth. So the one thing to do to listen to your intuition, in my opinion, what helps me is to find quiet time, like times for meditation, times for like solitude, even if you're just journaling, if you're coloring, doing a puzzle, sitting on your porch with a hot cup of tea, taking a walk, taking a bath. My favorite is bath time, bubble baths,
Oh,
where
nice.
you could just be with yourself. Learn to listen to what your thoughts are and what the intuition is, because you'll feel it in your heart or even your gut. Mostly in your heart is when it's leading you down the right path, the good, the best direction for your journey to get to where you want to go. And usually you'll feel it in your gut if it's like a warning, like if you shouldn't go this way, if you shouldn't be around these people, if you should be alert to a situation.
Do
So
we
it
ever
is
pay attention to that
difficult.
though? Do we ever pay attention to the red flags that are
Well, not at the beginning. No, not at the beginning, because we don't trust our intuition. We don't trust our instinct. We're not listening to the signs and energy in our body that's like, maybe we shouldn't go that direction. We think we know better. We sometimes want to just see what happens. Maybe I'm wrong, that sort of thing. But most of the time, you'll learn you're right when you go down that journey and you figure out if it's leading you down the right way or if it's going to cause you to detour or not. And then over time, you'll learn to actually listen, you
Was it
know?
hard for you to learn how to listen?
Yeah, like I said, to this day, I still question. But for instance, I'll give an example.
Yeah.
Um, I was booked for another podcast to talk about this book, this story, because it's very important. I was actually invited, but the whole time something told me, is this my audience? Is this where I should be? My intuition was telling me the answer, but I was too busy thinking of, well, this is a good opportunity. Well, this is my first chance to get my words out, to speak on what I've written about, the insight I gained. Like I'm making excuses to try to make it fit and make it right instead of listening, because an hour before I was supposed to go on, there was a conflict of interest and we had to cancel. So that let me know that, yeah, this wasn't the path for me, but it took me going down that path and actually, putting in the time and effort, and lost a lot to realize that maybe I should just listen to my intuition.
That is such a struggle. I am the world's worst at making excuses about why my intuition is wrong. So
Right. I
I
mean,
have a
it's
feeling
a normal thing.
your book's gonna be very helpful for me. And
Yeah.
when you said that we all think we know better, I felt so seen, like you were talking to me.
Well, I mean, that's just the human experience, right? I mean,
True.
we're very skeptical about things. We need proof, we want to see it to believe it. And so that it's normal to question those types of things, to question even ourselves, because sometimes we don't trust our own insight. We don't trust our own knowledge even. My daughter, I think she had me questioning if a bunny was a different species than a rabbit when I knew it wasn't. but she had she had a
Now I'm
whole
wondering.
like she had a whole pitch on why these like bunnies are wild and rabbits are domesticated or vice versa. And I actually thought about, is she right? Am I wrong? No, I did the research and no, bunnies are just, the babies of the rabbits, like,
But
but
she
that's
had
the
an
thing.
argument. She had a good argument.
Right. And she's good at that. But yeah, I had to like actually, that was me like not trusting my own knowledge, not trusting my own instinct, not trusting what I seen and know and learned with my own eyes and ears. And that's what we do as human beings. We kind of question a lot. And so it makes sense not to fully grasp onto intuition because, like I said, there's not scientific proof behind it, but the proof is in the pudding. Once you listen, once you like tune in, there's so much you can do. You could change your life, you could make your wishes come true, you could even change the world. And I know it sounds very fantastical, but that truly is the mission I'm on right now, to spread that, as long as we know ourselves, as long as we trust ourselves, as long as we truly authentically try to come out of our shell and speak what's on our heart, stand up for something, um, you know, be behind a cause, let our voice be known in one way or another, then we're on the trajectory of making our lives the way we want it to be. Like I said, one thing I have to say, in the book, I mentioned how as a little kid, I always wanted to see my name on a book cover. When that happened, in 2005, it was the first time I self-published. I saw my name on my book and I kissed it because I wanted to relive this memory for years to come. It was a very important moment of my life. And in the book, I mentioned wanting my book in bookstores. Well, I followed my own advice and I made it happen. And now now I have my book in bookstores like an app like a month after it was published. Like what? And like how
You
else
are
do I have
manifesting.
to right, how else do I have to prove and show that you could do it too? And by the way, I mean, when I have my book in my hands, like I don't kiss it now, my husband kisses it. He kisses it whenever he sees my picture on the back. And it's it's
That's so
just that's the
sweet.
next great memory to like hold on to forever, you know?
That's so sweet.
Yes.
There was nothing more exciting, I think, than getting that box when you open it and it's your book.
Yes. Right?
You don't ever forget that feeling.
Exactly. All the blood, sweat, tears, hard work, effort, time, energy that you put into the book, all those editing sessions, all those doors slammed in your face, the rejections, the no's, all of that just makes so much more sense and feels so good when you see it finally in your hand. All of it represented from just a thought in your mind, absolute just an absolute phantom thought to a physical thing that you can actually share with other people. It's beautiful.
My guess is that your next step is to be a public speaker.
How'd you know?
Yeah, I can just tell because you're, I hear motivational speaker coming down the
Yeah,
pipeline.
that's what I'm about. Like I'm a humanitarian first and foremost. Like I'm an Aquarius, so we're a little weird and out there, but I love it. I love being weird out there, but also embracing humanity, embracing tolerance of people that are different than me, embracing people of different walks of life who speak different languages. Like I want to make sure the people surrounding me are uplifted and are inspired and empowered and know that they could do whatever their heart desires. And this book is proof of that. And that's what I want to show. So yeah.
You're amazing.
Well, thank
Oh
you.
my gosh. Okay. So in your book, speaking of intuition and learning all that, you do a lot
Yeah.
of where you emphasize the signs and symbols, and making sure that you are co-creating your own universe, which I thought that was so cool. How
Right.
do you distinguish between intuition and fear, especially during the moments where you are dealing with self-doubt or that resistance? How do you distinguish between the two?
Well, It's hard to do. Like I said, I still struggle with that myself because it's kind of in the same realm. Like your intuition kind of tunes into your emotions and vice versa. It's kind of, they work hand in hand. So if you're feeling fear, you gotta probably go within to understand where this fear is coming from. And what I do is during my meditation sessions, when I'm, in the bubble bath, relaxing, when I'm, alone in my solitude, I try to dig deep into what I want. And this is important for anyone who has a wish. We watched Aladdin, we know how it works. Like you need to know exactly what you're wishing for, right?
So
And
true.
so to know that, you have to understand what you want and why. And if you don't understand that, then you have to ask the important questions, go within, answer those questions honestly. Now, some of those questions might not have or some of the answers might not be what you would like them to be, but you can't sugarcoat it because this is a time where it's just you and your mind, you and your feelings, your emotions. No one's there to judge you but yourself, right? So you have to go deep within, ask those important questions. Why am I scared right now? What am I really scared of? Maybe it's being seen. So then you ask, why am I afraid of being seen? Because I fear judgment. Why do I fear being judged? And you keep going until you get to the root of the issue. And once you realize the root of the issue, then you can understand if it's fear or if it's intuition. If it's your intuition, it will most likely lead you down the way you should be going. You will see progress in every step you take. If it's fear, you'll be stuck. You're
Why do I
always
feel like
stuck.
you're talking to me directly?
Maybe I am. I mean,
I feel
if
so
the shoe
seen.
fits.
I mean, my brain is over here going, is it fear? Maybe I just have fear. Maybe it's intuition. I'm gonna have to read your book. I can already tell this is gonna resonate deep
Right.
with me. I also noticed that people were saying in about the book that it was important for the people to who were reading it to actually leave space, but then to let go and release what doesn't resonate with them. Is it,
Hmm.
I know that's really easy to say, but is it easy for us to actually do?
Sure. I mean, I think anything worth doing, anything worth having, anything worth acquiring, it's going to be hard work, right? Like nothing you want, any wish you want, anything you want to accomplish, it's not just going to be handed to you. It's not going to just fall into your lap. We are going to have to work for what we want. That's just the rule of life, right? As a human being, you have to take action to make things happen. And so, yes, I mean,
No, it's
sure,
not
like
easy, but
right, it's not easy, but if you put the work into it you could do whatever you need to do. But in regards of your question,
leaving
see, I'm
space for
I'm
your readers and then taking what resonates with them and holding
right.
on to that, but releasing the rest.
Right. We do that a lot in everyday situations. We do that with advice that's given to us through books, from teachers, through mentors, coaches, whatever it is. We always take on what makes sense to us and we follow that. And if it doesn't make sense, then we pass on it. So it's easy to do, but make sure it's what you want and not what don't have fear about what other people think or having other people kind of steer what you're trying to do. I hope I'm explaining that right.
You are, because I swear you're like I'm talking to you, and you've got to quit
Right.
worrying about the fear and the judgment that's going to come
Yeah,
with it
but
because that's hard.
right.
I
But
didn't want anybody in my town to know that I wrote a book. I still haven't
oh,
told anybody,
so where does that come from?
right? I mean, like you're basically a therapist at this point. So
Right? Like let's have a session real
I
quick.
know
Like let's go deep.
that's what I told you where I was maybe when I said we're going to go deep with your life, I actually meant my own. Um,
That.
Wow, yeah, I can tell that this is you, and I noticed that a lot of the reviews across the board have been very positive, and a lot of them are saying the same thing, that you are really promoting this, and it's obviously personal to you.
Oh
So,
yeah.
and it, what made you think, or what point did you go, this is what I have to write? I have to write this.
Oh, now that's a question. So okay, it might sound a little crazy, but I was
No such
literally
thing.
told to write this by the universe. Now I know I see a lot of eyes rolling already, but remember, I tune into my intuition. I follow my heart. And at the end of 2024 in November in the US, a decision was made that shook me to my core, and I just wasn't ready for what I saw was coming in the future. And I was also in a point in my life where I felt like I was being taken advantage of through my business. And the books I was writing, I wasn't getting paid what I thought I should get paid. So I was in this moment of like everything just stopped. My creativity stopped, my motivation. I couldn't write, I couldn't do anything, but I was obligated to finish writing a story. So I forced myself through it. And then I had someone went into my DMs and asked me a question. Do you write biographies? And I'm like, no, I write fiction. But it made me think about the state of the world. And then I started thinking about the state of publishing. And I saw statistics that in publishing in general, it's not very diverse. um, Black women are usually at the bottom of the totem pole when it comes to reviews, editors, reviewers. Like, there's not a lot of diversity. And I was thinking, why am I in a place where I feel stuck, number one, where I feel like I have to work 10 times harder than my fellow peers to get into a place of acknowledgement, to get validation from the big four, big five. Um, I'm like, no, I don't like this. I don't like how I feel right now in my country, in the publishing industry, and in my career. My creativity is gone. So I was like, maybe because I do blend and bend genres a lot. Like you said, you read my bio where I'm over here with horror and over here with dystopian sci-fi. I was like, well, why not do nonfiction? And I said, well, what am I going to write about? And with the rise of AI and creativity, which I'm firmly against, um, I was like, what's something that I could write that AI can't? Because I want to distinguish myself from those writers who are just in it for the money, which there really isn't any money. Like, that's
Are
rare,
people
but we'll
making money doing this?
we'll get to that later. But I wanted to differentiate myself from that because I'm an artist first and foremost. I want to express myself. I have things to say. I have insight that I've gained, especially during this time where there's a lot of turmoil around me. I'm seeing a lot of my fellow neighbors and peers going through a lot of things that they shouldn't have, a lot of like human rights violations and stuff like that. And so I'm like, okay, where do I have control? My life, my
Your own
story.
story.
Right. And so that's where it began. And oh my gosh, like everything led me to that, to writing this story, because remember, I was burnt out. Creativity was gone. And I pushed through to get these words on that page. Like, you have no idea how much meditation I went through, how many baths I took, how much like time, energy, and effort I spent just trying to get it out on page. Like, and finally, when it was done and over with, I actually read back, looked at it, and I was like, I did it. I did it, and I can't wait to share it. And something told me that I needed to share it in 2025. And so I did everything I could to push it through, and here we are. And here
And
we
I'm
are.
so
So
excited. It's funny because when I was looking at your bio and I was looking at like the description of this book, it really is like a step away from what you were used to
yes.
writing. So I love
Hmm.
hearing the story of how you got to be there. But I have to ask, since you do write an unusually wide variety of
Yes.
books, like just
Hmm.
random across the board.
Right.
How do you decide which version of yourself gets to tell which particular story? And what do these different genres allow you to do to explore yourself emotionally?
Well, I don't know. I think there's a little bit of me and my true self in all of my books. There's always something in my books that I'm trying to bring awareness to or talk about, like in the subtext, the commentary. Um, there's always something going on around me in the real world. Otherwise, I feel like I have information on, or I have an opinion on, or like I said, I want to bring awareness to. So I find the right way to do that. And it depends on what I'm trying to bring and what genre, it will fit in to tell that story properly. For instance, in one of my stories, Tattered Page, I thought it was best to use horror to talk about my grief after I lost my brother and sister. And horror is good for that. Like in stories like The Babadook or Midsummer or like movies like Hereditary, it talks about grief in the symbolic way,
It does. Yeah,
and
you're
that's
right.
what and that's what I wanted to do with that. In certain stories like my dystopian sci-fi or my post-apocalypse stories, of course we got to talk about the fall of government and
Yeah.
revolution
Yeah.
and and a revolt and all that, because that's what it's about, and that's what's kind of going on in our lives around us at the same time. A lot of people don't realize that, like, Hunger Games is a metaphor for government. A lot of people don't understand that, but it's important to express myself and get it out, through my stories. So,
And it obviously works because your Grimm series with the Grimm games, that
right.
explores it's very moral cost, very survival, very what happens under an oppressive society.
Mm-hmm.
I That was the one that I read.
Yeah.
I loved it. And
Oh,
I mean, I loved it because it really did kind of, you can relate that to the real world that's happening.
exactly.
Yeah, and that's what I
Mm-hmm.
loved about it. When you were doing these connections between your dystopian work and your spiritual beliefs, how does that work in regards to autonomy and an inner power? How are you marrying these things together to make this dystopian novel?
How am I marrying them together? I don't know. I think mostly it's just about being authentic, because you have to know yourself, to know what you're trying to speak about, to know what you're standing up against, to know what you're fighting for. You got to know where you stand. You got to know what you're rooting for or not. And so I think that's pretty much what I do. I be myself. I find what I want to say that I was afraid to say in public, or afraid to speak out on, because, that judgment, or you're afraid of, misunderstandings, or someone's going to hate me, or I try to get over all that, especially now with the help of writing this book. It let me know that, oh, you're going to be seen, and you're going to be seen in a big way, and a lot of people may not like you, but you're still going to be you.
Something
And
about
that's what
joining
I
the
want.
40s club makes you just not care as much.
Right? Maybe that's what it is too, right? I mean, because you grow up and then you learn so much, and then you kind of realize how a lot of the things that you used to care about just doesn't really matter. It's like, why am I trying to get approval from strangers on the internet through a like, either you
That's so
like me
true.
or you don't. And
That's
that's the
so true.
same with my stories. I mean, I used to be afraid of speaking up publicly, of putting things on my social media, of saying what I really felt, holding my opinions back. So in my books, I'm just like, say how what you feel. Use the character in the book to kind of express how you feel about certain things,
It's almost like a
certain.
little personal therapy.
Why not, right? Just
That's
like
actually
Tattered
smart.
Page. You're
I
right.
think
I
I think a
mean,
lot of authors do that and don't realize that they are working through their own issues
mm,
when they're writing their book.
right.
I know
Yeah.
I did.
I mean, as a writer, we want to express, right? That's
We
a
do.
good way to express. We get our feelings out, and then also writing characters, we have to get into that character, we have to get into their mindset and their internal conflict and all that, what their wants and wishes. We have to put ourselves in their shoes. So of course we're gonna we're gonna feel.
Now, you're a mom and you're an
Yes.
artist and a creative. How do you model intuition, self-trust, creative courage to your children? If you don't mind, I told you it's going to get personal, while
Yeah.
still navigating your own personal growth.
How do I model it? I think a lot of how I work is through authenticity. Like, you see me, you see this is what you get. I practice what I preach. You know what I mean? Like, I really dislike hypocrites. Like, I just it's a thing about how are you going to say this thing but yet you're doing it? How are you going to say don't do this thing but yet you're doing it? Stuff like that. So, I try to like practice what I preach to them, and I show them how to,
How to be authentic.
follow, yeah, how to follow your intuition, how I do it, how what listening to it looks like, what not listening to it looks like. As an example I gave before, where I knew that wasn't my audience, but I was still trying to push for it, you know,
I
things
feel
like that.
special.
That's when, but yeah, I just try to model just just being real, and being real is very important, especially in today's day and age, because everything around us is trying to keep us all conformed. Every system that we play in, everything that all the cogs in the machine, that it keeps us running in the same way, doing the same thing, trying to show us like this is what it's supposed to be. But we're individuals. We each have fingerprints that are different. We're unique. We should express ourselves in that way. So authenticity, it's hard to do, but it's very important, because once you know who you are, and once you get rid of all the masks that prevent you from being yourself, you can really make big life moves, changes, make your wishes come true. And I know it sounds crazy, because
It
as I'm
doesn't.
saying it, I'm just like, that sounds a little like woo woo, but it's real. It's real, like
I believe in the woo woo. So
right,
I'm listening to you talk and I'm sitting here thinking, because I always try to ask that question, how do you want readers to walk away? How do you want them to view things? When these readers that you're trying to reach out to, especially in today's climate, who are kind of
right.
standing on that edge of trying to change, but they're afraid because they have that expectation that's put upon them. When they're listening, what does that look like in practice for them in a world, not just yourself, but how would you tell a reader that in a world that is so loud and it feels so out of reach and chaos is everywhere, when they're reading that book, what are you hoping that they will learn? Maybe I shouldn't ask that question because then that's going to pretty much give away the whole point of the book.
No, I think a lot of people will take a lot of different things from the book, because it's not just about one concept, but the very big concept in it is finding yourself. Because like I said, if you don't know who you are and what you're about, what you stand for, what you want, how are you going to move through life to get to wherever you want to go? You're going to be stuck. You're going to stay where you're at in your comfort zone, most likely, stuck waiting for the universe to bring in something for you, when it's on you to do it yourself. And part of that is by removing masks, and this is very hard. Like I said, we live in a society where women are supposed to be this way, men are supposed to be that way. um Mothers are supposed to look like this, teachers are supposed to act like that, we're
True.
supposed to dress this way,
It's
and
true.
it's like very conforming, where we kind of lose our identity, we kind of lose who we are, because we keep showing up in public the way everyone else is telling us we should. Like, oh, you can't be a professional and have blue hair. It's like, what is that? You know? No, that's false. And you're proving that wrong, right? Look at you. Like
I
you're
hope so.
making things happen and you're doing it your way. And that's the point. Like we need to take off these masks that other people put on us. We need to stop fearing ourselves and our expression of ourselves. I say a lot about how we could do that in the book, but the main thing about it is you have the power to do anything you want to do. I promise you, anything reasonable, anything that is, I mean, you can't grow wings and fly, but but you can get your book on a bookshelf if that's what you want. You
But
know
you
what
can
I
get on a
mean?
plane
You
and fly.
can. Right. That's something that's, that's where you got to define your wish because if you say I want to fly, you might get on a plane and fly. If you say I want to fly with wings, well, that's a different story. You got to make sure
You
you
gotta be
define your
realistic.
wish. Right. Be respectful, be civil, all those things. But anything you want, you can have, including a beautiful society, a beautiful world, a beautiful community or neighborhood or whatever it is you're seeking. You can definitely have that. It starts with revealing yourself, taking off the mask, finding authenticity, and then stepping up to showing the world who you really are.
That's
Pretty
going to be
much.
hard. That is a great call to action, but I know that's going to be hard for so many people to do.
It was hard for me to do. I
Yeah.
mean, it took time, it took effort, just like writing the book. It takes a lot to go into it, but it is a good investment. You will get a return on it. And the return is making your wish come true. Like what's better than that, you know?
What's better
So,
than investing in yourself?
right. Yes.
I mean, you got to start somewhere, and that's just believing in yourself. I am so excited
Hmm.
to read your book. I can't even tell you how excited I am to read it.
I'm glad.
Now we're running out of time, and I didn't want to
Okay.
keep you all day long, but I do want you to give one quick snippet, very quick, that says, what is the hardest part of being an indie author? Besides the fact that you ain't getting paid.
I mean, you'll get paid, but please don't expect the $1 million check like right after your book
Yeah.
is published. Like it takes time. You might need a backlog. You might need to build your audience and everything. But I don't know. The hardest thing could be hmm, going for it because I think a lot of what we look at in life is through Hollywood eyes or Hollywood Eyes with IZE, where we see so many movies and shows and everything on the screen on social media. It looks so perfect. It looks this way. Like there was a meme someone shared that said something about a movie about a girl who's a writer who she got invited to New York and her friend surprised her with her book being published and then she was going to go off to do a book tour immediately. Like
Okay.
that's the movie version, right? That's the
Okay.
movie. That's a Hollywoodized version of an author. But realistically, it's all the time and the effort and the energy that we put into it that is not being seen on the screen. So instead of looking at social media, like this is your phone, and and comparing yourself to your fellow author and what they've done and how far they got and what money they made and how many sales they had and blah 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 blah. It's like just know that you could do it too and do what you got to do to be yourself, to put your words out there, to make your voice known, and then the rest will follow. That I think is the hardest part
You
for
are
any indie author.
amazing. This has been a great interview. I think it's going to end up cutting us off, but thank you so much for coming and talking with me today. I
Thanks
cannot
for
wait
having
to
me.
get this out there for everybody to see. You have been a pleasure and a joy.